Hi, creative heart! I want to continue the series with a practical problem. Suppose you want to travel to Andromeda, the closest galaxy to the Milky Way. That's not possible, but why? Big Bangers believe in a space-time, so they think the problem is technical. For example, distances are too long, time lapses are excessive, or the accelerations needed are too violent. But what if a space-time is a subjective effect of complexity? In the previous chapter, I explained that harmony resembles a sizeless fractal. A universe is some section of a fractal branch, a lasagna of uneven complexity layers. Therefore, an observer doesn't travel across the fractal. She cannot jump from one limb to another. That would mean becoming much simpler and more complex again to be a structure of the same kind in another fractal branch. So, distant space travel is not a practical difficulty, but a conceptual mistake. I can tell the same story differently. Let's review our universe. Increasingly empty voids isolate increasingly larger structures. If humans want to go past Saturn, we must pass through a simpler state, like a lifeless spacecraft. We need to reduce even more to get to the closest solar system, becoming a piece of rock or ice. For Andromeda, we must become gas or dust. We can only detect single molecules or atoms between galaxy clusters. Finally, only radiation and black matter seem to fill larger voids, so we must become light to cross them. But as said, we must recover our human state to experience space and time again. Only then can we see some structures as objects at relative distances. I've translated harmony to space, but the same happens with time. Long space travel is like getting to past eras and returning as a similar observer in a parallel universe of the same age. It's a conceptual mistake because you wouldn't be you anymore. Thus, impansion coincides with the obstacles we find in space travel. For example, the faster we go in any direction, the sooner we lose our balance and earn a one-way ticket to the simpler. But impansion extends the reasoning even further, suggesting that human-like beings will always experience a peripheral location in an average galaxy. For example, suppose Big Bangers can jump from one solar system to another while keeping relative complexity. According to their calculations, they should reach the outer or inner limits of the galaxy someday. However, new solar systems continue appearing at the same rate as they travel. Moreover, they calculate their position again, and the distance regarding their galaxy center has stayed the same. They are running on an infinite hamster wheel. So, were the calculations wrong? No, they were correct. The problem comes when Big Bangers take the spacetime metaphors too literally. Then they believe that distances are independent of complexity. For impanders instead, spacetime and motion are relative because complexity is relative. Remember, impanded structures interact with simpler structures that resemble the past and more complex ones that resemble the future. The former case can look like bodies in relative motion, but is a secondary effect of harmony. Expanding and lasting longer can be desirable goals when you believe in a space-time. But if our pasts are outer shells of simpler structures, the best we can do for our future is to stop, count down, and look inward. I bet you have good examples for that. Bye.